Okay, we are live. That took me a second there to get it all. Got it all squared away now, and hopefully I'll have a better interconnection than I did when we were just chatting. So, if anybody is joining us on live stream right now on YouTube, I am unable to see any of your questions or your comments, and there should be a moderator in the comment section. So just as a reminder to anybody that is joining us, please be kind while you're in the comment section. I love having participation, but we do want to be respectful to one another, and even if there are differing views, please honor each other. That is what is most important, because that is a very integral thing to be doing in this time as we are creating a community that is lovingly supporting one another. So please keep that in mind if you choose to participate in the chat room. And Greg, if you're there, thank you, my friend, for doing the work you do as a moderator on there. I really appreciate your presence and all that you do for us in the background. We have missed having you here. Okay, so I absolutely loved last week's conversation. There was a lot that we shared in connecting Dr. Joe's work to the sacred languages, and especially the word Haya and the creation aspect of it, by putting out an intention, and then when the intention was out there, giving it power through heart-brain coherence, and putting the attitude or the feeling and the emotion, strong emotion of love and gratitude into it. And that to me was so overwhelming to see that, to connect Haya, the root word meaning to be, to become, and come to pass, that we actually had the mechanics of it in the language all along to comprehend what it was saying, because the yod being central within the heart, and that's where strong emotions are originating from, is the power within the heart, about how much we can change and manifest as creators here through that intention. And so why it is important for us to watch and catch the things that we put up here as imagery, and then the connection to it, and then even connecting to that as to how Hollywood will use that same kind of influence on us to create the reality they want for us to create. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword. And, you know, I think it's wonderful to know the mechanics of how the matrix works so that we can be responsible creators. So I don't know if you guys have any comments that you want to make from last week's conversation, because I'll make room for that. Anything that you thought about over the week. I mean, I know weeks can be busy and there's enough for us to think about on our own. But if you were coming into the meeting and thinking about anything from last week's conversation, I would love to discuss that before we start moving on, because we haven't made it very far. We're still on page 20. So it's a very slow go through this book, but it's been awesome. Kathleen, did you have anything, or Zarin, that you wanted to share? Or should we just move on? Okay. Okay.
Just an interesting. This is kind of off topic in a way, but it's connected, because the government, or the controllers of this world that want us to create a reality based on what they want, I think there's enough of us that have saw through that aspect of the control and manipulation that it's like we're at a tipping point right now, and we're already on the other side of it, where that control manipulation is no longer those of us that are responsible creators have looked past that and have used it in such a way to create a new reality. And I think all the time, like Kim has mentioned before, the timelines are collapsing into this one true new reality, anew. And I think that's what we're facing right now. We're seeing everything come down around us. Like you mentioned this morning with Steve, the temple, we're up on the mountain, and you used a word that just broke you. I don't remember what that word was, but
it was Pela. It was Pela.
Yeah, I love that.
Pela. Yeah. So I'm just kind of relishing in that. I feel like we're on the mountain peak watching all around and gathering together and just interesting. I'll use Ken's word, interesting.
I think Ken and I have a tendency to use that same word. It's so interesting. Well, I'll say, what do I say? Oh, it's fantastic or whatever. I get kind of pigeonholed in some of the words I use. It's okay. You guys get where we're coming from. But yes, it's interesting for sure, Zarin. Very interesting. But yes, Pela is pretty incredible. So in the thought of what we're creating, we're going to look a little bit deeper into this about on page 20. So anybody that's following on, if you have your books, if you want to open them so you can see where we're talking. I love on page 20 and 21, Dr. Joe has a wonderful figure in representation of the electromagnetic potentials in the quantum field. Now, I'm telling you, this was a huge shift for me when I was reading this, and this is why I've chosen to go so slowly through these first couple pages in this book, because of the significance and the ramifications of what science is showing us in the creation of our reality. So, in the bottom of page 20, Dr. Joe says that the model that he used in the figure, that for those of you who have the book, he says, I find it useful model to think of thoughts as the electrical charge in the quantum field and feelings as the magnetic charge in the field. And so that makes sense, the electromagnetic push-pull system that we have. The thoughts we think send an electrical signal out to the field. And the feelings we generate magnetically draw the events back to us. So when we're wondering why we keep having same things that circle around, I call it going around the mountain, going around the mountain again. Well, this is why. So between our thoughts and our feelings, we're just recreating that environment to be experienced again. It's like, now this makes sense, how the quantum fields work. It's amazing. So together, how we think and how we feel produces a state of being. There goes back to that Haya, to be, to become, to come to pass. And you'll hear Ken and I talk always, we always talk about the becoming to being process of it. And explained it right here. So the being, it generates an electromagnetic signature. Now this is very important. This electromagnetic signature influences every atom in our world. So because you and Zarin, Kathleen, and you guys are both here, because both of you are in the languages, I can speak to you because you'll be able to really connect to this because you have been looking at things already. You're looking at the letters. Zarin, I know you're digging out scripture. So when a word specifically, okay, we're not talking about the prefix, but we're talking about the suffix. When the suffix has a hey, this is the power that is given to us on that which is on the inside of us. The hey is revealing to us what's going on the inside, which is our shadow. And this is why healing is so important. Because if we are coming from a place where intention is coming from wounds and intention is got something going on up here, as soon as we connect the emotional feeling to it, that hey becomes a tav. Tav means completed. It means signature, fingerprint, completion, covenant. So what I want to connect with you guys here, the importance of what this is saying about the electromagnetic grid, was talking about the quantum field, is that if you go back to like the video I shared a couple months ago, Bereshit, the word what covenant means. In the beginning, the covenant of fire that was given to us on the inside, our heart as burning ones, that is a word that means, it has the word create or creator, or in the beginning, the heads, the chiefs that begin to create through the fire that is within us on the inside. As soon as we attach an emotion and a feeling to the inside of us based upon what Mother's light is bringing in to the Father's dark, shadow, hidden power side, through the process of meekness, power under control, when we attach here with the intent, it automatically becomes a Tav, and it becomes part of the creation signature that is already drawing the event towards you. So that is very important when you take a look at a word. So when we look at a word and we've got a lump of clay, we've got all this potential in the root, it is sharing with you the potential of what this word can be created to do within the quantum field. Like Ken says, he's in the room with me. It's a covenantal contract that we are coming in agreement with. So we take a look at this word, and this is why we change when we look at the language. It's scientific why this is happening. It's scientific. It's not something that is just, oh, we talk about it and it's a nice concept. No, it is happening because it's in our DNA. It gets changed in us because of the intent that hey, that revelation, the letter hey, on the suffix side, that then puts it into motion and then it covenants it. It means that now that signature frequency is put out into the quantum field and it's going to draw it to you. The hey on mother's side is going to be the thoughts that are coming to you that are meant to affect your outside world. So she's talking to you about your external environment. You begin to get a picture of what your external environment, what you want in it, and that is mother's part. Father's part is this side. Then you have the heart-brain coherence. So as soon as you get a clear image of your intent, you get the Tav on the prefix. Now you are in covenant with mother. You have created an intent that is going to affect your outward reality. So remember, when we have shared before, mother is always on that external orientation. It's what's going on the outside world. So that's why she's helping you create an intent that is going to affect the matrix. So as soon as you get the visual imagery of the intent of what you want to create, whether this is changing you and healing subconscious wounds, whether this is changing your environment, your workplace, that which is coming into you, experiences that you want to have, your intent is created here. When it's a clear intent, mother's Tav. The revelation is coming. The hey always comes before the Tav. The revelation, I'm revealing this intent. Okay, mother agrees through her power. The Tav gets put in place. The next thing she's saying, I agree with this covenant. I agree with the intent. Then you go through into the power side of the Father. And this is where you can have a miscreation if you haven't been healed. But if you've gone through the healing journey and that is clean and clear, and you connect from that place of gratitude within your heart, that light force energy that is within your heart through the love, the strong feelings of love and gratitude, that hey is generating that in here. And when the Father comes to terms and says, I covenant, I bring forth the signature, the completion of the focused intent, then the signature frequency changes. So those of you two have been following our teachings for a while, and you've heard us talk about that Tav means a signature frequency change. This is what we're talking about. So mother and father in the place of creation are joining with you in the place of creation, in the quantum field, so it can be drawn to you. The revelations have to come first, the intent has to come, and then the strong feeling being attached to it through love light, through appreciation, gratitude. Then the Father says, okay, let's do this. Mother says, Tav, green light, go. Father says, Tav, green light, go. Both signature frequencies go out to the quantum field, and then you create with what that word is saying to you. So that's many times when you will see, like for me personally, I'm sharing something with people like Pela today. That word Pela was so huge that, that pierced me. That was a strong emotion that came with a clear intent from the word because I knew what it was saying and I saw the mirror. And so that whole thing, I am now, because that was covenanted on both mother and father's sides through the intent and through the strong emotion, that is being drawn into my quantum field, which then in turn affects all of us because whatever we do And whatever we create, because we're all one, affects one another. Does that make sense? That was a lot of words. I'm just attempting to get you guys to connect with things that we've shared before, especially with the He and the Tav, based in quantum creating. Or did
I'll have
I?
an example for you. I think I shared with you that song that really struck me, and I said I hope you get. I said to look it up on YouTube. The Love Note by Upper Room. Did you look at that yet?
I haven't yet. I am sorry, but I totally forgot to look it up. So guess what? I'm writing it down on my pad right now. Love Note by Upper Room. Got it.
Well, what you just explained happened to me based on that song.
Oh, wow.
So probably 2 months ago, I decided to look at myself in the mirror in the morning, in the noontime, and in the evening, 3 times a day, look at myself in the mirror and say, I love you, with that intent. And my wife's watching right now, so I'll put her into this as well. And my focused intent when I said I love you was the picture of her face walking down the aisle at our first wedding that we had in Yuma. And just her expression on our face, she's just glowing. So I use that as a focus intent when I say I love you, because that was a representation for me, and it stirred me emotionally. And on our way back from Crestone, was pondering things, and on the I actually got back and then started doing corn harvest, and then went on another trip. And I was coming back from that trip, picking up a baler, and YouTube recommended a music release, and it was this video of Love Note by Upper Room, and it was I love you in the evening. Can you hear it? This is my love note to you. And so I feel within me, I created that space, I attracted it to me based on what I've been putting out. And it was just like, one of those God wink moments of saying, can you hear it?
That's so awesome.
Created this.
That's so awesome. So you brought the song into your field. That's so amazing. Okay,
Yep.
now I need to go listen to it.
And it was released on October 8th.
Oh, wow. Wow. So October 8th. Wait a minute. October 8th is when you guys redid your marriage vows, isn't it?
That was our intended date, but then things progressed. It was actually
we did it on the 9th.
Day, remember? Yeah.
That's right. That is amazing, Zarin. What? Oh my gosh. I'm so glad you shared that. That's incredible. Wow. Okay. I'll go look at it. When we get done here, Ken and I will go pull it up when we get done with this meeting here today. That just touched me. So yeah, I do believe you did pull it in your quantum field, and that was absolutely beautiful. Thank you for letting us be a part of that. Wow. So with that, it's a good segue to, because you used a real life example of what just recently happened not so long ago. And Dr. Joe on page 21 says this, and he says, all potential experiences exist as electromagnetic signatures in the quantum field. There is an infinite number of potential electromagnetic signatures for genius, for wealth, for freedom, for health, that already exist. Now, this is the part, it's like I had to slow way down, that already exist as a frequency pattern of energy. If you could create a new electromagnetic field by changing your state of being, so going back to Haya, which matches that potential in the quantum field of information, is it possible that your body would be drawn to that event, or that event would find you? And I'm looking at that and I'm going, well, that's a rhetorical question. Of course it would. And Zarin, you just gave us a perfect example of what you pulled into the quantum field with the song, as what you said, was just like a little wink from the creator to say, do you hear it? Do you hear it? It's like a synchronicity to let you know that you are doing that you are creating, and that you're being a responsible creator, and that you're aware of that. And I think that is the most important thing through all of this, is the awareness, and to not be in ignorance anymore about what we are doing and our intention of that which we create. So I did like that. An infinite potential electromagnetic signatures. So they're just waiting. All the things are just waiting for us to come into agreement with it. So it's amazing. Did you guys want to say anything about that, or do we want to cruise on over to page 22? Oh, we're going through some pages here. Okay. So now, to experience change, observe a new outcome with a new mind. And, I was thinking about how in English writings, it says about taking every thought captive. And now that I understand how the quantum field works a little bit better, because I've pretty much gone through this book, I'm at the place where activation, getting into the chapter of activation. Now I understand why the writing said the way it said, to take every thought captive, because of what we are doing in creating in the quantum field. So quite simply, our routine, known thoughts and feelings perpetuate the same state of being, which creates the same behaviors and creates the same reality. It's kind of one of those no-does statements, but when he begins breaking it down, it's like, oh, I can see where you're going with this. So again, if we are in a state of being and we don't like our circumstances, it's us, because we're the ones that are creating that environment for us to experience by what we're putting out there. And for me, that was a whole shift in mind, because it does, and we've talked about this before, it removes victimhood, right? It totally removes victimhood. Any comments on that? So if we want to change some aspect of our reality, we have to think, feel, and act in new ways. We have to be different in terms of our responses to experiences. I was like, oh my gosh, responding instead of reacting, knowing how we're going to respond. That's why, Kathleen, when I was sharing with you before about what happened to me yesterday, here my knee-jerk reaction was, oh my gosh, my debit card, all my cards got stolen out of my purse. That knee-jerk reaction my knee-jerk reaction was to believe that somebody stole from me, which shows me that I still have areas of distrusting humanity. So I had to stop. I had to look at it. I had to back it up. I had to say, clear, cancel, and delete. I'm not putting that out there. I'm going to back it up. And in my mind's eye, I pictured that they fell out of my purse on the floor in my house underneath a bag that was sitting there. And I pictured it in my mind's eye, and I automatically went to the place of gratitude, to being thankful that they were safe and sound at home. I just, in my, my fast grabbing stuff to go to the store, I didn't bother looking that they had slid out of my purse. And so I already imagined that they were there. I gave gratitude. We went about, did our business. I did go to the bank just in case, yes, it was, backup. I was like, because I'm still working on this, right? And so we're still going through the distrust and all of that kind of stuff. So I went to the bank and had them pull a hold on my card. I'm like, I don't know. I haven't practiced enough with being a quantum creator to fully trust that that is what's going on. So when I came home and I found them exactly as I pictured them, it gave me more of that sense of calm in my heart, knowing that I can trust humanity. I can trust Creator. I can trust myself to create environments instead of our knee-jerk reactions about thinking that the whole world is against us, or people have a heart to thieve and steal from one another, when we're actually moving into a place of such beauty and such love that would never have the potentiality of existing as we're creating something new. So anyway, that's my thoughts on that. All right,
Yeah,
I'm going
for
to share.
you, it was trust. For me, it was loving myself. That's how I see it. Like, we're all dealing with those internal issues and not trusting an external environment. To somebody else stole my stuff. It was like, I don't feel love, but I turned it back to myself, and as a reflection, I can ponder things back in the last couple of years where I said, I see it every day now. And so that will turn into trusting yourself every day. And then the reflection will come back. And that's where we're at. We're redefining even the words, but we're also redefining our outward experiences too.
Yeah. Yeah, totally agreed. Totally agreed.
Carrie,
Yeah.
you know what? I'm realizing so much as I listen to everybody that I listen to here. I, have health problems, and I mentioned that many times. But boy, it's just a challenge. And this morning, I listened to you and Steve, and I was like in seventh heaven. But my stomach was hurting so bad, and I get these problems. Anyway, I started having these thoughts come. They come a lot. That not real thoughts. Not that I believe it. And logically, I don't, but these feelings that I'm being punished or something, that, this is my fault, or I can't be strong enough not to be sick and all that. And you know what? I just put my hand on my stomach and I said, no. I said, the spirit, I listened to Brandon this morning about loving, his text about loving ourselves. And I put my hand on my stomach and I said, no, spirit doesn't teach me through shame.
Oh,
It doesn't work
wow.
that. And I said, I am loved. And I just had my hand on my tummy. And I thought, I'm just going to turn this show on, this meeting with you. And I'm just going to sit here like nothing's wrong. And that was a big move for me, because I think that's what we're talking about here, changing the emotion that goes with it, instead of just plundering through all the time, to really start to apply an emotion of love.
Yes, that's so good, Kathleen. That's so good. Wow. Well, I'm glad. So, did that then manifest? Did the stomach then settle?
Well, I'm paying attention to you guys, and then it just seems like it went away. Now, will it reappear? I don't know. But for right now, in the moment, everything is great.
That's so awesome, Kathleen. That's so wonderful.
Thanks.
So, if we want to change some aspect of our reality, we have to think, feel, and act in new ways. And you just described that. That's so good. That's so good. So we have to become someone else in the moment, instead of that knee jerk of what you were saying, like your mind went to things that you would already be thinking of, and then you stopped yourself. That is critical. That is absolutely critical. And it's like the beginning of us catching what our egoic mind and the things that we've been programmed and the routines that we get ourselves into, and breaking that. Again, breaking the habit of being ourselves, the name of the book. So, what else do I want to say here? So, as moving down from the page, from the quantum standpoint, we have to create a different state of being as an observer and generate a new electromagnetic signature. And when we do, we will match the potential reality in the field that exists only as electromagnetic potential. These are some huge concepts here. If we really, really get this, how much different our life can be and how much our world can change. As long as you stay the same person, as long as your electromagnetic signature remains the same, you cannot expect a new outcome. To change your life is to change your energy. If you want a new outcome, you will have to break the habit of being yourself and reinvent a new self. I don't know if I want to go too much further in the book today, because that was kind of a bombshell dropped right there, that to change your life is to change your energy. I'm going to go back and just talk about this, of where my thought process was when I was in the Christian church. And I think many of us were at that pace. I can remember certain situations in my life where I would approach prayer and I would be in the place of asking or even sometimes begging God to intervene on my behalf. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that at all, because these are places where we grow from and we enter into as we continue to mature in our process. And as I'm reading this, I'm looking at that, and we have many theology foundations based upon why some things don't happen. And one of the prevailing thoughts is that when we pray and something doesn't happen, the knee-jerk reaction is we don't have enough faith. Now, what if redefining faith is that we don't put forth the clear intent of that which we are wanting to have in our quantum field or needing in changing our environment, and that faith is really about everything that Dr. Joe's talking about. Meaning, if the knee jerk is that we don't have enough faith, then what is faith really saying? What is faith? So do you have faith enough to believe that this is going to happen? My faith is putting the intent by connecting to it a strong emotion through a heart of gratitude, thanking the quantum field, aka source creator, for that ahead of time. Is that connecting to you guys? Because I just backed way up as Spirit was like dropping out what faith looks like in the system of prayer. So instead of begging, God, can you please change this? God, this needs to change. My environment, I need help, I need assistance. And then somebody says, well, your prayers weren't answered because you didn't have enough faith. So what if, I'm just throwing this out here for a conversation, and I'm sure I may not have a lot of positive stuff maybe going on in the chat room. I have no idea what's going on in the chat room, but I'm feeling very strongly that faith has something to do with intent and heart connect in heart-brain coherence, and that how we affect and how we interact in the quantum realm with Abba Father, the Creator. Any thoughts on that? I'm just throwing it out there for discussion.
Yeah, I've got one. I don't think that the prayer's not answered as we think prayer would be, but it's our perception of how it's answered. Because if we're talking about creating our reality, and you're praying and you're coming from a place of anguish and heartache, you're creating from that space. And so the answer you get is going to be a catalyst for resolve to say, hey, it's on the inside of you. Here's your mirror. Here's the answer. It's your answer. If you now just choosing to see it that way is where we need to get more and more of. We're the ones, like you say, the question is the answer. You are the answer. It's you. It's all I have. And how many times have we heard, even in our own spaces, we're the ones we've been waiting for, that phrase. And we just have to turn and stop looking at the finger, like Steve said, and what is he pointing at?
I love that. I love that.
Perspective.
Yeah. No, that's good. Thanks, Erin. Kathleen, did you have any thoughts on that?
Well, I'm remembering in the Christian church the scriptures that we were told about. I haven't looked them up or just,
Yeah.
That, that if we believe something, that we've received it. And I like what Zarin was saying about answers. I mean, how can I say all the times that I begged God, to help me, that he, he isn't living in time and space, but you know what I mean? That here's my answer to feeling better with my tummy today, which sounds very childish, but I'm saying this is just the brink of maybe what I'll be able to learn and to help other people with this faith. Maybe the answer comes later for me on my time schedule, but not late to spirit at all.
Yeah, I comprehend that. I thought that what I would do, because I'm not going to go any further in the book. It's like, yes, we're going through slow, and I'm sure some people may not want to continue hanging out with us for such a slow go on the book, but it's just such great fertile ground for conversation. I decided to take a quick peek at the word prayer in Hebrew. And for those who watched the conversation that I had with Steve this morning, I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. This is such beautiful synchronicity to have this come forward. I'm so excited to show you guys this. So let's go to do the screen share, and I'm going to pull up Strong's Tefillah. Okay, so we were talking this morning about Pela, correct? That was the word that really got me.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was Pei Lamed Aleph. This is Pei Lamed Hey. Hey and Aleph are interchangeable. Hey and Aleph are interchangeable. So if you remember what we've shared before, Hey and Aleph are the spirit breath. It's the inhale and the exhale. So the inhale is the Aleph, the exhale is the Hey. This last word here is connected to Pela, and Pela means a wondrous sign, like a miracle, transformation, something that is so wondrous that is beyond belief. And it's showing us right here through prayer. Remember, I was sharing with you that Tav that is, this is so incredible. That Tav that is on the front of this word is Mother's signature. So through prayer, we are creating an intent, and Mother is like giving her stamp of approval. I am coming in agreement with you with the intent that you put forward in your prayer, because it is the mouth that is speaking instruction to the heart in order to reveal the strong emotion that is going to make this a wondrous sign in the answer of the prayer, of making it the Hey to the Aleph as is, coming in agreement and making it happen through our prayer. And that's literally in the word for prayer. Oh my gosh, that's so amazing. Oh, I hope you're connecting to that.
And then
Go
my
ahead.
eyes start to the Aleph Tav in the 2 Samuel 7:27.
Yes.
That's the Aleph Tav is right before it.
Exactly. And so when we're looking at this word right here, this is the first time that this word has been used. And so it is saying oh my gosh, this is so amazing. So the very first time a word is used is called the law of mention, the law of first mention. And so what we have looking right here, look at the bookends, you guys. Look at the bookends. We have two Heys. We have one on the prefix and one on the suffix. So you have to have the revelation. You need to reveal what your intent is on the prefix with Mother. And then you have to reveal to the Father through the inside the strong emotion. And on the inside, so it's saying, if you want this prayer to be answered, reveal the intent first so that Mother can agree to it. And then you put it through speech and through language to instruct your heart in order to come in agreement with an emotion that will attach to it. And this is the first thing that we are supposed to do in order for it to come to pass and to be through the Aleph Tav. It's like the sacred language are saying, hey, in the beginning, there was an intent. In the end, it was completed. So when I look at this, these very first two words here, this to me looks like creation was done through prayer. It was done through prayer.
And
in the beginning.
I'd like to add.
Yeah, please do.
Before I even saw this Aleph Tav before the word, there was a point in time where this revelation hit me like a ton of bricks. And I said out loud, I am the prayer. My life, my expression of who I am. And so this is confirming what I.
That's so amazing. That's awesome, Saren. Yes, we are the walking prayers, and that which we speak out of our mouth through the authority of our heart is going to be revealed. It's so amazing to see this word, tefillah, and being able to connect it to the science of how prayer and how that is being revealed through quantum field of that which we bring into our experience, because the Creator is waiting for all of those infinite possibilities to come and be drawn to us so that we can experience that which we are putting out as our intent. It's so incredible. So incredible. And I love finding Hebrew words or Aramaic words that can go directly to the science of what is being shared. Because what I just shared with you, I didn't manufacture that. That's what the letters were saying. I'm just like, oh my gosh. Now, spirit and science coming together as one, no longer divided. It's incredible. So unless you guys have more you want to share, I figured this would just be a short meeting today, because sometimes I don't like getting so long-winded. I really want to hear what you guys are saying. And like I said, if you guys have anything else just based on what we just shared, that would be great. Otherwise, we kind of went through a couple pages, and we can go and have this discussion as we continue marching ahead next week. Like I said, I just don't want to miss any nuggets that we can pick up along the way, so that when we go into the sacred languages, we begin looking at these letters and we see the movements of the Hey and the Tav, and we see what's going on, that we aren't just going to go blow by it, because we know that we are creating in the quantum field, especially when we partner with the languages and see that raw material that is waiting for an experience to be had with us through the infinite possibilities of the potential of who we are, and how Creator just wants to join with us to make it a reality. It's pretty amazing. And it's okay if you don't have additional thoughts. I don't want to put you guys on the spot. As is, sometimes I wish I could see the chat room too, because I'm sure they're having a conversation over there as well. And maybe that will change one of these days once I can figure out how I can see the conversation at the same time. But I don't have that ability right yet. So that learning hasn't come in. So maybe I'll just go ahead and create that and put an intent in here and have gratitude so we can make it happen. Why not? All right, you guys, short meeting today. I love you very much. I'm going to this is kind of like the last day of some nice weather out here for us before we get lots of storms and clouds. And I think I'm going to go take the dog for a walk and go throw the Frisbee with my husband.
Thank you, Karen.
You are welcome, Kathleen. It's beautiful to see your face again. I love you so much, Zarin. I'm happy to have you here. I love you very much. Please say hello to Vanessa for me. And we will join again next Saturday, and we'll march through a couple more pages, and maybe we'll have a couple other people join us.
Okay.
All right. Shalom,
I
shalom,
just
namaste.
said hello to her. She's listening.
That's wonderful.